I've been sick the last couple of weeks. Hey, it's Acadewolf, and today we'll be exploring the deep dark. And I've spent it reading your comments and improving my copper golem sorter designs. And at last, I've come up with an elegant solution to almost any situation called the Acadewolf Golem Sorter. This module is directionless, stackable, and overflow protected. It can handle any item in the game, whether 64 or 16 stackable or unstackables like tools and armor. It uses 2 golems per module for optimum item transportation. You can go up to 4 golems if you really want to push the speed, but 2 is the best balance. 4 modules of the Acadewolf Golem Sorter with double hopper speed loaders are fast enough to keep up with an 8-stack raid farm. It's also the base module for my new golem chest hole, coming soon. There's a Bedrock version and a Java version. The only difference is in the redstone, because Java redstone can't go down glass. While you don't need to worry about chunk aligning, you just need to make sure a chunk line doesn't run between the torches and hoppers. Otherwise, on the edge of simulation distance, the hopper can be unlocked and the items flow out. The way it works, the items come into this chest, which then uses double hopper speed to push into the copper chest. Then the copper golems pull the items out of the copper chest, and then they check the middle one and then one on either side. Then we make sure that this chest is even higher than where they are standing, which makes sure that this chest is always the last one they check. So if we put an item into here, golem will pick that up, check this chest, then that one, and then that one, and then finally this one, where it then passes on to the next module. So the actual module itself doesn't include that. This is the actual module itself. So these can be stacked right next to each other so that there's no gap, as you saw on the chest hole. Here's everything you need for the Bedrock version. And here's everything you need for the Java version. Both versions, each module is 3 blocks wide and 5 blocks tall. The Bedrock one is 8 deep and the Java one is 9 deep. And in this configuration, the front of it lines up exactly with where you want the chests to be. But if you preferred, you could easily have it offset in the other direction. So to build this, I like to start with where the golems are going to be standing. So come to the top of wherever you want the storage to be, and then we're basically going to do this. Up 2 temporary blocks and put your smooth slab there, put a block of copper there, and then the side opposite to where you're going to have the chest, we're going to have glass there, glass on top, and then we want a temporary block here with a slab there, glass on top of that. Then if I'm building this in a series, I like to come out like this and start my next one here and then build out that way, because then the easiest way is to come here, put a hopper there, with a temporary block there, and a hopper there, just so that we can get our chest on top like that. From this bottom temporary block, come out on your third one. This is going to be where we put our filters. So 1, 2, 3, you can do this in a whole line. Then we put our redstone torches on there. Look at the torches and place your hoppers so that they look like that. And then come up on top, crouch, and place your chests there. And finish off like that. We're then going to put our comparators here, and this is all still the same in Bedrock and Java. We want to put a temporary block underneath so we can get our slabs. These can be any slabs, or they can be solid blocks, and then place repeaters facing into it like that. Now to finish off this section, this is how I like to do it in survival so that we can have everything in place. So from here, looking at the copper block, you place like that, and then you're going to hit the golem with a honeycomb. And then after that, you're going to, you want to time this, otherwise you've got to hit them to move them apart. You want to be ready to go with your honeycomb. So you do this. And so you're basically hitting the copper golem with the honeycomb as it is falling. Then you break this chest, which gives you a copper chest, which then you look at this one and then you're creating a double then. Then once you've done this, don't do it before because you're gonna have to redo it again. Crouch and looking at the copper chest, hit it with some more honeycomb. If you wanna keep it in this copper color, you can go green if that's what you want. But you wanna make sure that your golems are waxed, otherwise over time they will oxidize and then stay still. Last thing for this is you wanna put a slab on top just to keep them, because they can, you know, if they glitch or whatever, they can actually jump onto the ledge here, which is good for if you ever do fall in, you can get out just like that. So we put a slab on there. Okay, now this is where it gets a little different. For the Bedrock filter, we want to put slabs here and dust on top of those, either looking at the side of the redstone, you can get that. Even if you're over here, you can get to the edge and get it. Otherwise, just put a temporary block and put there. And then we also want to put glass on top like this, and then solid blocks here, and cover everything with redstone dust. Like so. And that is the completed module of the Acadewolf Golem Sorter for Bedrock Edition. Now for Java, what I like to do, I like to go out like this and then complete these ones. And then if you crouch and look at the repeater, you can get a solid block in there. We want to put repeaters in there, and then crouch and look at the back of the repeaters. We want to put solid blocks there, and then we just put solid blocks on either side here, and redstone dust over all of this. And that's the Java version done. On the final module of this, so if you've got a series of them, on the final one, you just want to put a double chest there, and then you can send this off to whatever bulk storage overflow that you want. So let's talk about filters. The filters are going to operate exactly the same in both Java and Bedrock. For each filter, you get 10 slots, and then you need a stack and 36 of items that aren't going to go through the system, or if there aren't any items that aren't going to go through the system, say for example on your main storage, then just rename these to anything. Same as filters on another system. We get this down to 60, put 60 in there, and then we just do one on all of the rest of these, leaving the first 3 slots empty. So we get to there. So it's going to look like this. We have these 10 slots, and these 10 slots can be anything. They can be a mixture of stackables, 64 stackables, 16 stackables. You get 10 slots, and then you have this rest of this filter stuff. The reason why we're doing it this way, so the golem starts filling from the first ones, and if it fills up all 3 here, we don't want the signal strength going too high, because if the signal strength goes higher than that, it is going to push the signal strength into this and start draining these other ones. So we don't want that. So the same thing will happen. You can have multiple of the same thing in there. You can have 64 stackables in here. It's not going to make a difference. Whatever you put into this chest, the golem's going to look, and say for example they're holding a diamond sword, they're going to look and see that there is a diamond sword in here. Doesn't matter how many, but there is a diamond sword in here, and so it will put its diamond sword in there. And then when it goes through here, it is going to pull the item out. Now this is why we don't use the Java one on Bedrock, because it pulls an extra item out of it, because the signal strength is held open for longer. So some examples, you can, if you just want bamboo in here, for example, you want to make sure that the 64 and 36 are something other than bamboo or renamed. Otherwise, if it does fill up, this starts to go into there and then starts draining out, and you don't want that. Or you can have unstackables like this, or 16 stackables like this. We can also replace all these, but what do you do with this last slot? Well, you can double up. So you can have that in there. It doesn't take into account any enchantments on this. So if we have this, any of our enchanted diamond gear, including with trims or whatever, that's just going to flow through here nicely. Same with all the tools. So if we look how I've set up these, so this is for the raid farm drops. I've done 3 exactly the same. So for example, I've got all the iron here, and on the next one, iron is all in the first slot, and then I put the stackables in the middle one. But you see, I only had 9 items, so I just filled up the rest with bamboo. Bamboo will never flow through the system because it's a raid farm. And then in the last one, all the books, so perfect example. So we got this one, just happens to be Bane of Arthropods, just because that was the first one that was dropped. But look, we have all the different books in here that have been dropped while I was testing this system. Now the reason why we leave the first 3 open and then we have it with the stack and 36 is because if for some reason this fills up, you know, it's not far from filling up. If this hopper gets clogged and then pushes up here, we're going to have 3 items in here, but that is not going to be enough signal to start draining the hoppers around it. And then later when we pull items out of here and clear things up and things are able to flow through, then it will restart again. So that's what I mean by overflow protected. It takes on average 20 seconds for the items to go from the copper chest through all 3 of these and into there before they go back to this. So it's 20, 21 seconds thereabouts. So if the items aren't in any of the chests and they overflow, then it's going to take about 20 seconds to go right the way through, but then otherwise they're going to go backwards and forwards fairly quickly through here. And because we have the double hopper come through there, from there to there, we drain things pretty quickly. So all I've done for this is it's a double hopper speed into these copper chests. Each one goes into the copper chest, and then if they overflow or if they're not found, they kind of go through here. Say for example, if this one fills up with all 3 and they can't push any more in, then they'll just put it into this chest here. And if you don't want to have all the other items, you can literally just have one totem in here and then fill the rest up with bamboo, or you can have multiple totems, and then everything else goes in here. You can run a trash can and send everything into lava. So the beauty of this system is that because it's modular, you can literally just keep going, keep going, keep going. You can turn corners like I've done in this main storage, and this is to preserve the double hopper speed throughout the system. But realistically, I'm using this everywhere. So this is how you build the Acadewolf Golem Sorter. I hope you found this useful. Let me know how you use it in your builds. If you find any issues with it, please let me know, because I'm trying to make the best system possible, and I'll see you in the next one.